What's up, StockTwits crew? Happy Wednesday, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Rip. Hope the chat is doing good this morning. We got an exciting day. It's the big day, FOMC. We got a ton of big earnings happening today. We got a fun conversation planned a little bit later in the show with Russell Starr as well. So stay tuned for that. But gonna be a fun day, guys. Gonna be crazy. I'm really excited. Shy, how we feeling for the day, man? This is the big day everybody's been waiting for.
Earnings Palooza. Some people love Coachella. They look for the whole year to go to Coachella. Some people love to watch the Super Bowl. Like, this is our Coachella and Super Bowl today. We have a lot of earnings. um, so I think the market right now, looking pre-market, I guess we'll discuss this later on in the show. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm eager. Like, we're gonna be a lot of content gonna be out there. We're gonna be on a full day long spaces via Wolf Financial. So tune in on that. It's gonna be like a 12+ hour Palooza. It's
We're
gonna be
about to
great.
log some
This
real hours in spaces today. Just yeah, that's for sure.
100%. And this time tomorrow, like, the playbook can be completely different than what I'm saying right now. That's how drastic of a catalyst it could be. Where Meta and Microsoft, they can blow any kind of narrative upside down, good or bad. So you have to be prepared and watch the situation unfold.
100%. Well, let's get prepared and dive into the daily rip from yesterday. Get a recap of what happened and get ready for the morning. Here's the heat map. So a little more green on the tech side of things than what we were seeing over the past few days, but a lot of red everywhere else, right? Consumer defensive, real estate, utilities, energy, healthcare, all looking pretty rough there. So love to see green back in some of our big tech names, though, right? That's what we want to see. Obviously, something to note, too, over the past week of downside that we've seen in the market, Apple really has held up well. Obviously, a big part of that is them not being as big in AI as like any of these other tech companies, right? So they didn't get hit at all when that DeepSeek news came out. Versus every other company that we trade got rug pulled basically. So something to note there, right? For the short term momentum, especially, I think for the long term that might hurt Apple, right? We talked about that a little bit on the last show, but at the end of the day, great momentum to play at the time. So anything standing out to you, Shy, that you want to talk about?
Software. Who's been saying software is where you want to be in
CrowdStrike was
2025? I've been saying for
banging.
quite some time. Dude, I had my top five positions. I think three of them were up 10% yesterday. Like Snowflake, MongoDB. Like, you guys, I've been beating this drum for weeks with on the show. Like, this is the repositioning is occurring, and when it does, there's going to be a FOMO like behavior because this next stage we're in AI doesn't have the cyclical risk associated to it. This is where AI meets permanence, and that's going to be explosive, and it's going to cause a massive reacceleration on the top line, margin expansion opportunity, especially the software names with consumption models. And if you looked yesterday, the software names with consumption models, all of them were up 10%. When if you look at this heat map, like, it was kind of more red than green. There
Yeah.
was a repositioning that was occurring. That's where the next hot pocket is going to be, and I think my biggest worry is that there's gonna be a massive run up ahead of earnings this cycle for the software names, and if we don't see a massive reacceleration on the top line yet, again, because AI agents are just beginning. This is based on past 3 months. I do think 2025 is a different story. There might be some profit taking, but we'll find out today with ServiceNow. That's always the first blue chip SaaS company that reports their earnings. IT workflow management, they are the GOAT in that. And AI agents is going to be a massive beneficiary for their business. So we'll see this afternoon, like, how quickly AI agents are going to actually start flowing into the fundamentals. But either way, software is where we want to be. And Nvidia, people, DeepSeek was causing a ton of fun in semiconductor names, and Nvidia, like, it was the worst kept secret. Like, they were not using Nvidia chips. Clearly they were. Like, just look at the Singapore portion of the revenue for Nvidia. Like, you think Singapore spends that much money for just their own GPU chips on Nvidia? No, like, they're outsourcing to China. Like, it's the world's worst kept secret at all. Like, same secret, like the refs want the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl every year. That's obvious. That's the world's worst kept secret. Just look at Mahomes' behavior with the refs. Same thing for like Nvidia is going to be the central. They're going to be the kingpin of the digital economy. They're not a hardware company anymore. And you saw yesterday's price action reflect that, where it's not just about GPUs. It's about the ecosystem they built around it. CUDA cemented themselves as the cornerstone of the new digital economy. So when it's down 18% in just one day based on something that DeepSeek or Chinese LLM claimed that they didn't use Nvidia for like $6 million, I call BS, and the market did. So that's why it bounced.
Yep, good stuff. Well, moving on. Retail's Fed and Mag 7 expectations. As noted in the intro, tomorrow's a big day for the markets. Talking about today. This was from yesterday, obviously. So let's review some of the expectations for the Fed meeting. Starting with the Fed futures market, indicate a 98% probability of rates staying where they are. And after the last set of economic projections, many aren't expecting a cut until at least the second quarter. Starting with the Fed futures market, indicated 90% probability of rate staying. Wait, oh, that's just the same thing twice. All good. While the actual rate decision is priced in, Jerome Powell's commentary is not. We all know that, right? What Powell says can sometimes be a surprise, especially for those algos kicking off when that meeting starts, right? It's just those candlesticks start going crazy. So please be careful, guys, if you are trading it. But Trump recently indicated he wanted interest rates in the U.S. to fall, signaling some potential pressure on the Fed to make a move. However, when Powell was asked about any potential clash with Trump in November, he indicated he would not re-sign nor bow to any pressures from the president. So we'll see if anything changes or did change with Jerome Powell's mindset there, I guess, today with the meeting. Going to be interesting. I mean, any thoughts with what's to expect, Shy?
I could be an ignorant swine by saying this, but like, I don't think anything matters what Powell's going to say right now. We're all in earnings season mode. It's all about AI capex spend.
I think you're right for like the long, like for
I-
where prices are going to be in a few weeks. Obviously today's like important just for the intraday, like price action. But I'm with you. Like after
Well,
this,
do you think
after
it's
the
actually
dust
going to move?
settles,
Like, I do think they're going to pause. I don't think they're going to cut rates. Like, do you think that's going to really move the market? I just don't
you
think
know,
so ahead of this afternoon.
there has been a few times where we haven't gotten a super like a crazy reaction like we generally do, and that might be one of those times today. I would expect some volatility, just at least when Jerome does start speaking, because I mean, literally, you can listen to the meeting. There's algos that are triggered off of
Mhm.
certain words he says. I mean, it says it's ridiculous, right? So, I mean, I definitely think we'll see a little bit of volatility, but you might be right, right? It might be more of a nothing burger, which we have seen before. It's just, I think it's definitely more rare to see that, but we'll see, right? Honestly, I'd rather have that, Shy. If you ask me what I want, I'd rather it be a nothing burger. I'd rather see not really like any volatility come in and just keep it like this normal market that we've been trading. But I just I don't know. Maybe we'll see. But moving on to earnings, the stock to its poll indicates that more than half of the 6,800 active investors who voted believe the Magnificent Seven is set to report strong growth and continue its dominance this earnings season. With six of them, yeah. So majority of people are saying dominance will continue. I'm very interested to see if that's the case after some of these earnings, because I mean, I really do think it's going to kind of set the tone for the next few months, right? So,
Um,
gonna be interesting. Shy, what are we
I
thinking?
think
Maybe
the biggest tell was yesterday was the biggest tech inflow on record in history, and that happened the day
was
after.
it? I did not know that. I
Yeah,
didn't see that.
biggest
Okay,
tech inflow.
interesting.
Let me get the dollar. I can get the
That's
dollar
something
amount,
to
but
note for sure. Can't
a
ignore
hundred
that.
percent. I mean, after that whole debacle in the semiconductors, day before, we're gonna get some like commentary and earnings from Meta, Microsoft. I think just read between the lines right there. Yeah, right here. Largest tech inflow. I'll post the chart. Yeah. Oh my God, it's a 4.0. That's a lie. Usually it's around 1.5 to 2.0. This came in at 4.0 yesterday, and that the last time it hit this level, third quarter of 2020. What occurred then? That's when the bottom occurred in the market. So like I know Tom Lee said the commentary that were this is the biggest opportunity to buy the dip since like 2020. I think it's really interesting that the inflows reflected that the day after Tom Lee said that as well. So like I do think this is like the amount like we had QQQ went down 5% at one point in one day based on DeepSeek's news or playbook reveal. Like that feels an overreaction, and I think that the inflow is telling you that you're going to see today, like the capex spend is going to continue. They're confident they're going to continue the party, and you're going to see semis run or big tech run because the earnings were going to be really strong, like it's been past couple quarters. I will call out though, I do think the boogeyman for this cycle is going to be the weak Q1 guides. I really do think that the strong dollar is going to affect a lot of the guidance in the near term for a lot of these big tech companies. I think full year outlook is going to be great. Near term, there's going to be some kind of currency headwind issue. And I think we saw that with Netflix as well just last week. And I think that's going to be a theme for this quarter.
Good stuff. Well, obviously we did touch a little bit on what's happening today, but all the economic data for today, we got retail wholesale inventories at 8:30 Eastern, the Bank of Canada rate decision at 9:45, EIA energy inventories at 10:30, the FOMC rate decision at 2 p.m. Eastern, and then the conference is happening at 2:30. So obviously, you know, if we are going to see volatility, you'll see some when that print comes out at 2 o'clock. But really, for me as an intraday trader, if I am looking to trade it, what we really like to capitalize on is going to be when Jerome Powell is speaking, right? So definitely going to be excited for that. Pre-market earnings are going on. We got Teva Pharmaceuticals, T-Mobile, ASML Holdings, NASDAQ, Scott's Miracle Grow, and Whirlpool. And then after hours today, and this is going to be fun, we got Tesla, Meta, Microsoft, IBM, ServiceNow, Lam Research, Western Digital, Wolfspeed, Las Vegas Sands, and Waste Management. So obviously, I'm super interested in Tesla. That's my most held company in my long term. So I'm very, very excited
Tesla,
for that.
let's go, Elon.
Let's go, Elon. We'll see how. I mean, honestly, I'm not expecting too much for this earnings. If I'm being real, I mean, we've done a lot over.
Honestly, the risk is towards the downside.
Yeah, I expect a nothing burger or downside, to be honest. I don't expect like a really positive, like even if it is a positive print, I don't expect ripping price action based on what we've already done. But we'll see. You know, I'd love to get surprised and be wrong on that. But
I could say the volume vacuum that we might see in today's print might reflect the EV tax credit that got removed, the $7,500. That might have pushed a lot of people to buy a car way earlier than anticipated. So we could see like a strong print because of that. But again, like this is not an EV company anymore. It's an AI software company through autonomy. So like I think that it's just gonna be a nothing burger, like Jordan said. Like we're gonna find out. Yeah. This is gonna be more of like a next couple quarters like earnings story rather than today. But regarding other prints, like ASML had a really strong earnings this morning. I think they're somewhat bucking the narrative on DeepSeek disrupting the semiconductor chain when they just nearly 2x their bookings estimates. So like demand is still really strong. Having said that, I do think that it's an early, like we won't see any potential disruption this earnings cycle. Like whatever DeepSeek's playbook reveal was, if it is somewhat of a reality, it's not going to play out in weeks. It's going to play out in months. So I really do think it's going to be like in 6 months, we're going to really see that reflection. It's going to start with the demand for Nvidia. That's going to trickle to the wafers for the TSM, and then it's going to trickle to ASML. Like that's the order it's going to go through. So ASML like really doesn't show us too much in this earnings cycle. It's really going to be a next earnings cycle story, maybe in 2 earnings cycle stories. And Lam Research, I put them down. I went through all the semiconductor chains over the weekend, see what's potentially disrupted, what's safe. LCRX is in the potential disruption. Like it's a very specific, expensive niche that they have in equipment manufacturing that we don't need that many supercomputers, or it doesn't cost that much for supercomputers, like they're going to be somewhat of a headwind on their demand. Microsoft, you guys know my opinion. I think it's overvalued. I don't think much is made in Microsoft, and I think there's too much noise in Azure numbers to really see what's actually happening there. Meta, perfect setup. I think nothing can go wrong with Meta. Like they're dominating everything that they're doing, and like Tesla, nothing burger. ServiceNow is huge for me. My whole growth portfolio, 60% of it's software names. So ServiceNow is going to dictate the tone of this earnings cycle, in my opinion, for software. And after a lot of those names went up 10% yesterday, if ServiceNow does a meh quarter, we could see some sell-off in a lot of those software names, but that's the buying opportunity in my opinion because agentic AI is not being reflected yet. And we just got commentary over the weekend, DeepSeek, AI tools are cheaper and they're going to continue to get cheaper. So now software is going to be a massive tailwind for software applications. So I think that if there is somewhat of a dip in software from ServiceNow's good, not great earnings, that's a buying opportunity. And I'm going to be capitalizing on that as well.
Good stuff. Reminder, you guys can listen to these earnings calls on the StockTwits page. So get on over there and listen to those. Today's Wreckage and Retail's reaction. As for the StockTwits community, 72% of the 6,700 investors polled are using this weakness to buy Nvidia over its competitors. So 72% looking great over TSM, AMD, and any other. So definitely heavily weighted towards Nvidia. Love to see it. Love to see it. What else we got? Nvidia, big reversal day for Nvidia and big tech. So, Nvidia was looking really nasty on, breaking those lows the other day, but getting the strong bounce back. Bulls are still trying to hold us up, right? So, something to note there. But the fact that we closed under those lows as aggressively as we did is still a little sketchy to me. But bouncing right off that moving average, which is the 200-day, which again we've talked about multiple times here. And trying to hold that. So, Shy, right? As long as we're holding 200-day, we're all right, right?
It bounced perfectly. For the first time in 2 years, it retested it, and look what happened.
Yeah.
It tells you everything you need to know of, like, maybe that's where the tech inflows went towards NVIDIA because I think a lot of people were waiting for that retest to kind of get into the name, and it freaking bounced. I will say the volume wasn't as much as I thought it would be on that bounce. But maybe I do want to. I think it's because of the earnings this afternoon. Like people are just putting all their chips yet on the table. But as soon as we get the green light this afternoon, I do think Nvidia is going to hit 140, and then their earnings are going to be dictate if they hit that new all-time high.
Yeah, good stuff. What other charts we got? Cores oversold bounce for Core Scientific. This came in pretty good. So looks like we topped out that 1863 a bit. Found some more resistance lower at that 1664, and we've just been making those lower highs, lower lows since, kind of breaking that consolidation structure that we're holding, but right back down to $11, where if you look left, right, that's right where these previous lows are, 1104, and then you look even farther left, $11 even was actually a previous high that is now support, right? That was resistance. So something to watch here. If we can hold this $11, I think you have a good chance of maybe trying to break back towards that 13. 13 is going to be a spot because, that 1330 is the previous low that we just broke through, right? So similar to the $11 that, was resistance. We broke over it. Now we're holding that. It's now support. Same thing with 1334, right? That was a low. That was support. We've broken through that. And until I see us break back through it, I have to think that that is going to be resistance, right? So back to that $13 off 11, I think is solid. If you can get over $13 with momentum, I think you're in for a gap fill potentially back up to your resistance area at 16. So something to watch there. Not a name I trade. Never traded this name. Want to be clear about that. But obviously, the chart is the chart. So I like it. I probably wouldn't trade it, but the chart itself, I don't hate. So maybe that's good for somebody if you're looking at this name and thinking about picking something up. Shy, you got any thoughts on cores?
The only thing I have on cores is I do think a lot of companies who are shitcoins might follow their playbook on becoming a crypto holding company if they can't figure out some level of like a pathway towards profitability. If they're on teetering around bankruptcy, that's the financial Hail Mary that's going to happen over the course of the next couple of years is the core scientific playbook of let's just convert our cash to Bitcoin and just hopefully that saves the day. So
Yeah.
we'll see. That's my thoughts on that. Maybe I'm a little too harsh, but it's just why? Like, why would you do that? There's so many better options out there.
I love it. Oh. All right, what else we got? RCL cruise lines keep chugging along. It's been a minute since I looked at some cruise lines, but looking strong, right? You see these higher lows, higher highs. We did get that brief pullback from what is that? Just from December into the new year here, and it looks like we're starting the new year off pretty strong, right? We got some bullish action that looks like early January, and then we pulled back recently, and now we're getting this massive move to the upside, breaking out of those highs with momentum. And you can see, like, that candle didn't just break out and peek its head over and get rejected right back down, right? As of now, I mean, I don't know how it's looking today, so we can look at that later. But as of now on this chart, right, seeing that's very strong to me, right? I don't think that this is like trying to sweep that previous high or anything. You're trying to get strong price action over that level, so I would now anticipate any retests of that previous high we just broke to potentially get bought. But yeah, looking really strong here on the cruise lines. You got any thoughts, Shy? I don't think you trade cruise lines much. Again, I'm sure your question is why.
I don't know. It's like having food with no like salt. I'm like, sure. It's just not my spice. Like
It's like it's
my
good, but
risk
like it
appetite's
could be
way up
so much better.
there. So much better. Like, if Royal Caribbean, like, am I gonna own this when we have a once in a generation theme like AI? It's just hard. It's just really hard. But also, I'm 31 years old, so maybe it's just my
Well,
age.
maybe this goes in the bucket of your more boring names that maybe you want to stay diversified. Maybe you have some extra cash that you're like, hey, I want to throw it somewhere, but I don't want to be as risky. Maybe this is one of those names that you can kind of fit in that area, right?
In my head, like, I might be crazy risk on, but like that's an Amazon for me, like that mentality. Like when we were
No,
talking to Austin yesterday, I'm like,
I
Amazon's like that
see.
where it
Yeah.
won't move too much. Like maybe if we pull back the market 10%, it'll go down 15%. While my other growth stocks go down 40. That's like Royal Caribbean. Like, I don't know. What's their growth pathway? They already have a massive market share, and there's only so much ocean and places for them to go. I just don't see like what's new. Like, are they gonna have flying cruises? Is that like the next frontier? I don't know. Or is it Mars? Is there gonna be cruises on Mars and Moon? I don't.
Oh, you let me know if we get flying cruises. I want to participate in that.
I
All
just don't
right,
see it.
moving along. RCL, gosh. CrowdStrike. Here's a name that Shy likes. Let's go. This thing was absolutely ripping yesterday. If anybody was watching that, as well as many other software names, but absolutely just beautiful here, breaking those highs. Kind of peeking its head over, like I was just talking about on the previous name. But you can see on the when you look at that candle, right? The candle was strong close, lots of momentum on it. So even though price ended up closing just above that high, the way that the momentum look and the structure, I think this looks very strong. So I want to see continuation of this over that 400. But again, 400 is a big spot, right? It's been big resistance. It's not quite flipping to support to me quite yet. So we might see a little bit of sideways price action here for a few days. I don't really know, to be honest, right? You got to play it by ear with this, but love the momentum. If they can keep that momentum going, I think that's even better because you'd really get some momentum, like a breakout over these highs. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, gear up for the recess of these previous highs, and let's see how far this thing can go. But Shy, dive into it. Like, how are we feeling after yesterday? I know that was a great day.
For sure.
I mean, I remember you pounding the table on CrowdStrike when the big outage happened, when we all woke up and we had that massive dip. And I remember you specifically saying, you're like, I'm buying this. I think this is essentially kind of similar to the DeepSeek. I know it's a completely different situation, but similar in the fact of like, this is FUD. I'm like, the long-term look on this is I'm buying this. These are prices that I want. We've all been waiting for, and look at CrowdStrike now. So,
I mean, yeah.
congrats. That was a great call.
That. So I got into CrowdStrike really early. My average cost base is around like 110, 120. My vision initially was they're going to be all-in-one cybersecurity platform for enterprises. Like, just look at Falcon. It's a beast, and their module adoption just keeps increasing year after year. So it was a number one position for me before the outage, just because it grew into a massive position. It went from 400 to like 200 in a matter of weeks, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So like I felt that. I really felt that in my portfolio. However, this is why conviction or doing your own research is so freaking important. I kept the receipts from all the gurus on FinTwit who claim they know growth stocks or cybersecurity that were saying, "Oh, CrowdStrike will never recover from this. They're gonna have billions of dollars in lawsuit. Like, they might go to zero." I'm telling you, these are real people with like thousands and thousands of followers who are claiming this. I'm like, that was my first, like, again, like, I started going on FinTwit publicly only less than 2 years ago. That was my first exposure to how BS a lot of these gurus are. They don't really know what they're talking about. They follow narrative follows price action type of thing. So when it was at 250, 240, they were all just like saying how much lower it's going, and I was like, I looked like the idiot because I was sticking my neck out at the time. I was like, guys, there's a language in the contract that it's not going to be billions, it's going to be in the millions. This is a buying opportunity that's going to be short lived. They still have the best endpoint product in the market. This is a black eye. It's not a death nail. There's a difference. Look at the price recovery. Even on like I saw through the FUD and noise and communicate exactly what's going to happen. Never thought it was going to hit the new all-time highs 6 months after the outage. Never did I think that. And I also do think right now it's not a good buy. Like I'm not an idiot. Like the outage is going to affect them for next year still financially because they do have to give some front promos. Like it's a margin compression issue, and a lot of the contracts that they have during the outage, like who knows if they're going to actually renew in a year or so. Like a lot of those contracts are 2 or 3 years. So like we'll find out the real story going forward. But I think the biggest reason why it's hitting an all-time high is their branding didn't get diminished as much as you think. They didn't have that much of a churn. That just showed. I think that was like the gut check, to be honest, of how big of a moat they have, where they stopped the world, literally stopped the world from functioning for a couple hours due to something as simple as what occurred, where it wasn't really it was just an admin related issue that caused them to shut the world down. Let's just say that, and everyone's forgiving them because everyone's in kind of a handcuff or shackles to what CrowdStrike's product is because it's that much better.
Yeah, you
Like,
kind of
it's
have
so
to
much
forgive
better.
them and just be like, all right, like we're
Well,
back with
also
you.
like
It's like,
think about it. It was like $100 billion company that stopped the world from functioning. I think it showed how powerful CrowdStrike is for
yep.
the world. And I think it's cemented themselves, to be honest, that like they are one of the beach stocks to have. Like they're going to be an essential component of the new digital economy. There is a risk associated with them. Like I said, fundamentally, they're more than fair value right now. It's got the premium valuation again. Like the price is at right now, post outage, that's with a drastically different fundamental profile because their margins got lower, their revenue growth is going lower. Like this is not the same kind of multiple as it was pre-outage, but the stock price doesn't reflect that. So there is risk associated to that. But if you're a 5+ year investor, CrowdStrike's a stock that you must own in the post AI world, especially when cybersecurity is going to be vital when you have like cheap AI tools from China that you kind of need to make sure you're secure domestically here. It's just like cybersecurity is going to be a very important component of any IT budgets. And I love to see it, but I will say I kept the receipts of those gurus, and I just they lost a lot. I lost a lot of respect for them. Like understood the Snowflake bear argument. Like I respect bear arguments, but their bear arguments in CrowdStrike was it's absurd.
Shy was not
Absurd.
having it.
I
He
was not
said,
happening.
fake news. Fake news. That's what Shy
Propaganda.
was
It was
saying.
propaganda.
Propaganda. I love it. Huge IV surging into the close for Chinese stocks. That kind of makes sense to me with all the craziness going on lately. So love to see that chart. That's wild to see where that came from, and where it's going with Baba there, and then the net call, net put premium. That's wild. So love to see that. But Daily Rip crew, it's time for today's DeFi download, a special segment brought to you by DeFi Technologies. Joining us is Russell Starr, head of capital markets at DeFi. You guys have probably seen him on the show before. He's going to give us the inside scoop on why this is one of the most exciting times for equity investors thinking about the crypto ecosystem and how DeFi is leading the charge. So let's get him on in here, Mr. Russell Starr. Hey, there he is. How we doing? Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you guys?
Doing great. Yeah.
I guess that's too many guys. Morning, guys. How are
Yeah.
you doing, guys? Sorry.
No, you're good. No, how's the morning going? We got a big day ahead of us, Russ. I'm excited to get in a convo with you and
Yeah.
talk about how DeFi is really leading the charge.
Oh no, look, ever since the Trump victory, everything's changed. It's kind of like a massive inflection point across the entire ecosystem, and seems like everything is getting a bid. But obviously, there's the odd company out there like DeFi Technologies that's absolutely crushing it. So happy to answer any and all questions. Have at her.
Yeah, no, really cool. I mean, okay, so Trump's super pro crypto, obviously.
Yeah.
And with him being like leading the presidency, it's going to be huge. Obviously, I think crypto is going to be massive these next 4 years. But from your standpoint in DeFi, I'm curious, like, how are you guys capitalizing on this in the best way possible? There's that bell. Market is open. The day has started. But how are you guys going to be capitalizing on what's going on this next 4 years with him being president and being so pro crypto? I mean, everybody basically in his corner that's in the administration is so bullish on crypto. How are you guys going to be capitalizing on this?
Well, as you guys know, we're in the midst of a global expansion. So you should see a Middle Eastern, an Asian, and an African expansion. But clearly the US is going to be part of that for us. And the really kind of cool thing about what we're doing versus, IBIT or Fido or ARK, they're all focusing on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and likely Solana. We have a massive head start, by the way, on Solana. I think we have the third biggest Solana fund in the world right now. But we're competing in the altcoin space with basically no one. And they're all competing for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and theoretically Solana. So we're actually unencumbered and moving forward, launching all these products in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new jurisdictions. And honestly, trading as though we're not growing at all, quite frankly. And on top of that, we're going to be launching some really cool MicroStrategy like products, SolFi, XRPFi, RippleFi is what we're calling it, and CoreFi, which will be new standalone companies that just accumulate XRP, Core, and Solana. So those will be 50% owned by DeFi, probably 50% owned by the foundations. Again, stuff that no one's including in valuation as we basically embark on a global expansion. So our view is, the US is important, but guess what? The rest of the world is massive. And the rest of the world's been adopting crypto pretty darn quickly. And the US has a lot of catch up to do.
Yeah, no, I agree. This Ripple stuff is crazy, by the way, too.
Yeah.
Just what's happened over like the past 2 months.
Yeah.
So you guys are jumping on that as quick as possible, right?
We actually have we have a Ripple fund. We're one of the only people in the world that have an XRP fund. So ETF. Literally, like, it's almost like we're just quietly hiding under the radar screen. I don't even know how it's happening. Like, you look at the likes of like HODL, Soul Strategies, they're trading. I think they came out with 4 cents of earnings per share for the year. We had 33 cents of earnings per share for the first 3 quarters. We're probably going to do close to 50 cents per share for the year. And they're almost trading at our market cap. So there's crazy divergences happening all over the world. Obviously, Sol's a good company. Neptune's a good company. It's just, we're literally leading the pack in terms of revenue and profits. About to list on the NASDAQ as well. Like, all of those key catalysts that should drive shareholder value, all of that's coming and soon. And it just represents a massive trading opportunity for anybody who's paying attention.
Yeah. No, 100%. Can we get a breakdown on the executive orders on Trump's crypto, the pro crypto stance?
Are you asking me, or are we just looking at getting like a breakdown on a document?
No, like, yeah, just asking for like your thoughts, I guess, on it.
Oh, so look, the market's trading like there is no Bitcoin treasury strategy. Which to me, I find a little bit surprising. I don't know if you guys just saw what the Czech Republic did. The Czech Republic's now talking about doing a Bitcoin, or Czechia is talking about doing a Bitcoin treasury strategy. You've got basically every Latin American country doing it. But if you're Donald Trump and you're a trader, or you're a guy trying to create value, or you're trying to be stealthy about this, I think you're smarter off not announcing the treasury strategy and starting to accumulate Bitcoin. And then once you actually have a ton on your balance sheet, i.e. the US's balance sheet, then you announce it, right? If you announce it ahead of time, you're basically going to be rushing towards 109, 110, 120, 145. And if you actually think about it from a game theoretical perspective too, you're going to see China and Russia also rushing towards acquiring Bitcoin, because once the US does it, it kind of forces every other global superpower to do it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm the US government, I'm probably slow walking this, buying it in the background, letting the algos sell into your bid just on and on and on, and just quietly acquiring as much as you can at these levels before you announce it. And then you also have the one wild card, which is Senator Loomis. And she's basically leading the charge for this Treasury strategy. She's got a bipartisan bill that's basically going to be probably on the doorstep of the president here any day shortly. So my suspicion is that that's probably what's happening in the background, and that look, to me, this is one of the easiest trades of the year. Get long crypto.
Yeah, simple as that, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I see it the same way. When you have this kind of administration running us for the next 4 years, right? Obviously, like, I don't just want to buy any coin out there, but like your big crypto names, right? Like, I want to be long. It's as simple as that. I want to be long these next 4 years, and it's similar to, I'm trading stocks as well, so I'm also
Yep.
capitalizing on moves on Coinbase, right? Moves on Tesla, things that
Yep.
are also benefiting off this administration, right? So. I think it's huge.
Yeah, it's
There's
the
just
Trump
so
trade.
much opportunity. The Trump trade, exactly.
Yep.
It's just
Yep.
there's so much opportunity with it, and also, I mean, all the meme coins coming out. What's your take on him creating a meme coin? And then we've seen all the basically the whole family branch of meme coins get created as well. Do you have any thoughts or any take on that?
Yeah. So again, this morning, you saw DJT announce on CNBC that they're going to be launching a bunch of crypto products under the banner of TruthFi. Again, the writing is on the wall here. My two favorite protocols right now are Core and Sui. Sui benefits from that meme coin trend, also the fastest protocol out there. And then Core obviously has this incredible technology on their blockchain that allows you to stake Bitcoin, which a lot of people haven't figured out. And it's generating close to 15% staking yields when you stake your Bitcoin, right? Most people thought you'd have to lend your Bitcoin out. So all of these altcoins and all of the meme coins, and in particular, any meme coin that benefits, obviously Solana is the number one from Trump and family launching their meme coins. You saw Solana. I think it was up 13% on the Donald meme coin and the Melania meme coin.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Absolutely
yeah.
crazy. It was just it happened overnight too. It was just
Yep.
like bam, they're
Yep.
here, and it's everybody can trade it now, and it's
Yep.
overnight the crypto market changed. Just crazy to see it. I want to get your thoughts a little bit more on maybe some specific positioning or like more near term outlooks with with some of the names here. Just kind of going into, I guess, this first kind of half of the year. What type of positions are you guys thinking about, and I guess how are we feeling about the market and everything like that?
So, I mean, I'm your unusual investor who is basically long one stock and one stock only, and it's DeFi, and my rationale, it's not just because I love DeFi and I work for DeFi and I help DeFi. It's because if you're a believer in the altcoin market, and you have to be a believer in the altcoin market, like basically you see the altcoin market really start to rip post Bitcoin moves. And we are the most heavily exposed to the altcoin market through our 60 ETFs that we have launched in Europe, and now we're going to be launching them all over the world. You get a diversified exposure to basically the entire altcoin ecosystem, or the majority of it, just by owning DeFi, and then you get a ton of cash flow. You might even get a dividend based on how much money we're likely going to be generating this year and moving forward. But the other key thing that's happened, and it's a little bit of a head fake for people. A lot of people still trade the miners as though they're a crypto proxy, but the reality is they're right? they're AI HPC now, right? And that's why you saw a lot of them just get hammered on that DeepSeek news, which I think the story is still to be written on that. So who do I like? What do I like? I've always liked Hut just because they've got so much Bitcoin on their balance sheet, even though they're moving to the HPC data center model. Having 9,000 Bitcoin on your balance sheet, to me, what an acquisition target for MicroStrategy. Like that, to me, that's just makes sense. Obviously, I'm loving DeFi. We're trading at 7 times last year's earnings and basically 2 times this year's earnings. And we're about to uplist on the NASDAQ. We're about to launch in, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 new jurisdictions. I mean, I can see us. Well, I'm the math I'm giving is I think we get to 4 billion by the end of 2025, but in a bid market that could be 6, 7, 8 billion. And we generate 10% yield off of that, right? So, just do the math. At 4 billion, we're doing 400 million in revenue and probably 380 million in net income. And we're trading at $1 billion market cap, and we're listing on the NASDAQ. You do have these other proxies, the HODLs, the Neptunes. In my opinion, they're getting a little bit expensive relative to us. So you're either buying us until we get to a similar multiple, or waiting for them to theoretically come down. But who knows when and if that's ever going to happen with the way the market's going. And then, like I said, on the meme coin front, we're going to be launching another 40 ETFs. But I still think SUI, XRP, Core. I still think Solana's got a lot of juice in it. I'm less excited and enthused about Ethereum. And then from a Bitcoin perspective, I think everybody needs to recognize that no matter what your personal feelings, like the Canadian banks are out to lunch. They're still against. They're anti-Bitcoin. It's incredible. But
you hate that, don't you?
Well, it's not a hate. It's a what are you doing? Like,
it's just, what are you doing? Come on.
Get
your head together.
It's almost like, oh, we're not going to invest in the internet because we don't like the internet. Like it's that kind of a mentality. And I know it exists because of what the SEC was doing prior to this current SEC, but things have changed, right? And if you've got global jurisdictions, i.e. the US, Venezuela, Czechia, all of these countries looking at adopting Bitcoin as a treasury strategy, and then you've got Canada sitting there on the sidelines, kind of picking their nose. It is a little bit weird, in my opinion. So those are kind of the key ones. But the other thing everybody needs to remember is that for every Solana, there's another upstart, right? Like SUI came out of nowhere, and is now this incredible protocol that has the potential to actually eclipse Solana. A lot of people don't know that. Our SUI ETP is our fastest growing ETF ever. We went from like 0 to 75 million in 6 weeks. So that's amazing. Yeah, there's going to be more, right? Like I try to explain this to people who still haven't gotten their head around this, but you're effectively witnessing an entire change in the global financial system, and you can either get on board and win, or watch from the sidelines and not lose and not win, and just be agnostic to it. But I'd rather be invested and wholly invested and trying to make some real life altering money, which is obviously what we're trying to do here at DeFi.
Yeah, absolutely. Shay, do you want to touch on FOMC?
Today's a pretty big day. Clearly, FOMC. It's kind of the first one of the Trump-led presidency. What's your take on what's going to happen? Because I think it's going to get clouded because big tech earnings is going to overlook whatever Powell's going to say. I'm anticipating it's going to be a pause due to, honestly, the surprisingly bullish data we've gotten in the past couple of months. But what's your take on what's going to happen today and what Powell's stance is going to be?
So there's a lot of factors at work, and I don't know if I told you guys this. I actually have a master's in economics, and I started my PhD in econometrics. So, I have some thoughts on this. Look, I think it's going to be a dovish pause, and I don't think I've ever seen, and there's some statistics out on it, but a hawkish pause into a new presidency, I think, would be a first. I don't think. Yeah, I don't.
I mean, I haven't done the studying, so I wouldn't know anyway to look back on that type of data. But that's interesting.
But this might be the first because there's not a lot of love lost between Powell and Trump.
Very true.
But the thing that you have to keep in mind is you're looking at a potential world where subsidies are going to be eliminated, and you're looking at incremental tax being levied basically across the globe by Trump. That's going to make everything outside of the U.S. more expensive, and it's going to force everyone to buy U.S. And that's his thesis. A lot of people are suggesting that that's going to be theoretically hyperinflationary. In my mind, I'm not sure I see that as a fallout. I think that's just a bit of a cop out and people trying to basically throw mud at Trump and what he's trying to do. So I think there's like maybe a 25% chance of a cut. I'd say a 50-60% chance of a dovish pause, and then the balance would be a hawkish pause. But I am really, really worried about the U.S. economy. I'm really worried about the Canadian economy, much more so the Canadian economy, just because we're kind of a single asset, natural resources, and we had arguably the worst prime minister ever in the history of prime ministers basically ignore what is most important to Canada. So it's going to be a really interesting one. And then to your point, you've got Nvidia announcing, and if they miss, it's not going to be, to your point, it's not going to be pretty. So it really comes down to, is the Fed at all politically inclined? Are they not? I'm betting on the dovish pause. So we'll see. You guys heard it there. We can throw down for a
Clip
beer
it now.
later
Clip
on.
it now.
Yeah.
No, great stuff, Russ. I appreciate the thoughts. Where can just for the audience, where can people do like a little more deep diving into DeFi if they wanted to?
Look, there's 5 research reports out on our company now, so it's not like we're a secret anymore. At least in the U.S., and institutions are starting to buy. So DEFTF is the symbol in the U.S. DEFI is the symbol in Canada. You can reach out at ir@defi.tech or ir@valor.com, or quite frankly, directly to me, which is Russell, 2 S's, 2 L's, @defi.tech. And I can get you the research reports. The best one is actually the Northland research report that just came out. And they're the first analyst yet who has actually suggested that we might, we've already told everybody we're expanding globally. They're the first ones that have actually put it into their model. Okay. And if we actually do even a tenth of our job, they have a $17 target on our stock.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And look at that, sitting at $3 right now. So love to see that. Great stuff there.
Yeah.
Well, Russell, appreciate you coming on. I know the audience appreciated it as well. Great conversations. I can't wait to have you on again. Appreciate you.
Anytime. We share crazy hair. I got it slicked back.
Oh yeah, I got the crazy hair. We already know it. Yeah, that's me. That's me.
I got the same one, man. It's just a little bit of product today for the conversation. But no, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the chat. We're going to be doing this more often, so looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, audience, it's been a fun morning. I think we're going to wrap it up, but everybody trade safe. It's a big day. Take it easy. Hey, I don't know who needs to hear this, but stop thinking that not trading is not okay. It's totally okay. I might not trade at all today if it's too crazy, to be completely honest, because I like to save my money. And to be honest, if I'm honest with you, like most FOMC meetings, I'm probably getting wrecked just with the volatility and so much uncertainty. So just be careful out there, trade safe, and we'll see you guys bright and early in the morning for another episode.